chicken is available at a KFC near you. It has been and will be until the end of time. No matter what's happening in the world, you can trust that my original recipe chicken is always made with 11 herbs and spices. Many unnamed sources agree. It's delicious. Get it in a KFC $10 chicken share and enjoy it with a friend. KFC, it's still finger-licking good. Limited time offer at participating KFCs. Prices may vary. Tax and substitutions extra.
Santa Clarita Philharmonic has begun its season of free concerts. The SCP is a non-profit community-based volunteer symphony orchestra comprised of local musicians from throughout the Santa Clarita Valley who are dedicated to providing quality classical music for the residents of the Santa Clarita Valley. Like the Santa Clarita Philharmonic on Facebook or visit santaclaritaphilharmonic.org for more information.
If you're tired of your nail polish chipping a day or two after an expensive manicure, then you'll love the gel nail polish manicure now offered by Ann. Ann is a licensed manicurist serving the Santa Clarita Valley in Canyon Country for over 15 years. And now she's offering the gel manicure that lasts without chipping for up to 2 weeks. Log on to hometownstation.com for details on how to get an amazing deal on gel nails by Ann on Restaurant Row, or call Ann at 250-8340.
With Facey Medical Group, good health is within your reach. Facey Doctors provide Santa Clarita's finest primary and specialist care at 4 convenient Santa Clarita locations. If you're looking for connected and convenient personal care, there's no better choice. Facey accepts most healthcare insurance, including plans offered through Covered California. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 1-844-MY-FACEY, 1-844-MY-FACEY. KHTS is searching for veterans who are looking to start a new career. We've teamed with the Lifton Institute right here in Santa Clarita. If you're a vet, they've designed a program just for you. In 10 short weeks, you'll develop the skills to land a job in the film and TV industries. Lifton graduates are placed in industry jobs. Free, unique career training right here in Santa Clarita. Visit jobsforscvvets.com. There's no catch. It's free, but it's up to you. jobsforscvvets.com.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Hey there, I'm Tori with your Hometown Station weather. Another gorgeous day for us. Sunny this afternoon with highs in the upper 70s. Tonight, overnight lows in the upper 50s. A possibility for rain tomorrow. Keneally Acupuncture's fall seasonal event is Sunday, September 24th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The menu of services will include seasonal acupuncture treatments, spiritual readers, and much more. For information, go to KeneallyAcupuncture.com.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Jean Dorio,
on your hometown station, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And speaking of quality of life financially, our first guests this morning are Jeff and Melanie Meyer of Thrivent Financial. Welcome to both of you.
Well, good morning.
Well,
thank you for
Good to have you here.
First time on our show, I think.
Yes.
Yes. And later in the hour, we will be speaking with Myles McNamara of Comfort Keepers in Home Care, one of our sponsors. So, what are we going to talk about today?
Especially
As
related
if we
to our,
didn't
well, especially related to our seniors. Our seniors are getting older, and some of them, have worked a long time and have a nest egg. And the thing is, we don't know how long we're going to live.
Absolutely.
And how do we time that out so that, the right time comes and we're gone? Quite doesn't work that way. What advice can you give to our seniors with respect to that nest egg?
Well, that comment that you made where we're living longer and longer, it hits home in my family because my grandmother just turned 104
Oh,
in August.
my goodness. Bless her heart.
The most
That is
amazing,
wonderful.
yeah, it is. The most amazing thing about my grandmother is that she has a few stability issues, but as far as cognitively, there's absolutely nothing wrong with her. She will talk to you for hours and hours and hours and understand and remember pretty much all of it.
And
so.
she's sitting out in the car waiting for you guys,
Absolutely.
right?
She drove us here, right?
She's a remarkable lady. She really is. Yeah.
I plan to live that long, too. Absolutely
Well,
do.
more and more people are.
Yes.
And
because
that's what we're talking about.
we're taking better care of ourselves,
Yeah.
and a lot of us are providing for our future
Yep.
so that we don't have to grovel, so to speak.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have to do that because they
Absolutely.
haven't thought ahead.
Right, right.
Or the economy has affected them too, because a lot
Absolutely.
of the nest eggs just evaporated in 2008. So what happens if it did evaporate? How do you guys suggest they recoup some of that so they can get back on the train and move forward?
You know, it's not necessarily a recoup strategy. It's a strategy that we work with continuously throughout a person's retirement. When we start working with people, hopefully when they're not retired, one of the things we talk about quite a bit is we need to develop a distribution strategy for you, not only in those early years of retirement, but in the years when you're 90 and possibly 104 as well. Wow. Because really, we could potentially be retired longer than maybe we were working.
That's true.
And having a strategy for how you're going to take distributions from any type of investment that you may have accumulated during your working years is really, really important. If you're retired for even say 30 years, you're going to see lots of downturns in the market. You're going to see lots of upside of the market too, but that distribution strategy that we talk about is really primarily important for those times when the market does go down. And so we don't have to worry about, recouping, so to say, because we would have had a strategy prior to that downturn, and we can weather through that and survive and still have an income stream even through those ups and downs. But it's important to review that and continually adjust as needed.
What, Jeff, did you and Melanie start Thrivent Financial?
No, actually, Thrivent is the organization that we work for, and we are representatives for Thrivent. Thrivent is a very large company with offices all over the United States, and we are one of the Thrivent offices here in this community. Melanie and I have been in business for 24 years. And we have worked with that organization, Thrivent, for the entirety of that time, and I think our model is really to work. We work quite a bit with individuals, families, and small businesses, and that's kind of our focus. And as a result, having been in the business for 24 years, we are, we've grown older with many of our clients.
Right.
So we're having more conversations now with our 50 to 60-year-old clients about what the next phase of their life is going to be. And that's where it goes back to what Melanie was saying. Investments are important, but really what people care about and rely on in retirement is being able to pay their bills.
That's right.
For health care, for rent, which is going to go up, with food, which is going to go up, making sure that it's going to do more than just keep pace with inflation, which we know is something that we have to deal with as an economic factor. And that's I think what we build into our advice to the clients that we work with is ways to do that, and ways to minimize taxes as much as we possibly can for them too, because that makes their dollars go further.
That's true. And we have a great many small businesses
Yes.
here in Santa Clarita.
Absolutely.
Really do.
Yeah.
I mean, so many of these storefronts are small businesses.
Yeah, it's a vibrant community for that.
It is.
We absolutely agree with you on that, and it's fun to be working in a community where we can help folks with the issues that they have to deal with as business people and as individuals.
So there are a lot of seniors who are listening at home to the senior hour, and they don't have a business, and they live in fear that they're going to run out of money. And they're living in a situation, sometimes in their own home, sometimes in an apartment, sometimes in a board and care even, but they're listening to our show, but sometimes their anxiety goes up and down as they listen, and they want to be reassured by us and our guests that they're going to be okay. How do you go about reassuring those seniors who are not 104, but maybe 84, but think I might live another 10 to 20 years, and if I do, where is this money going to come from?
We have so many conversations with not only existing clients, but family members many times. This is such a family-based community that we not only get to know the parents that are our clients and have been our clients for a long time, but we have their children and get to know them as well. And that's very much a family conversation, whether it's the individual themselves worrying about running out of money or children worrying about parents running out of money. The one thing that I would say to anybody that has that concern is, talk to somebody, have us or another financial advisor, help you work through what your potential expenses might be and look at your income sources. It's a fairly simple, easy analysis that we can walk through people with and develop that distribution strategy. There's some very basic concepts that work across the board for everybody. And just having some peace of mind from maybe a conversation with one of us or, like I said, any other financial advisor is going to hopefully ease somebody's concern about, is this going to run out? It's a little difficult to explain what I mean by a distribution strategy, but a distribution strategy targets various income sources and assets that people have already, and it determines when the levers get turned on to create an income stream. And so maybe we're turning a lever on from an investment portfolio that they have, 5 or 10 years down the road, and we're taking Social Security at an earlier age, or maybe we wait and take Social Security at 70 as opposed to 62. But each situation is very unique. And I can't say that there is just one strategy that we would put in place or recommend for any one person. It all depends on each person's goal, each person's income needs, each person's income sources, each person's assets. But we would be very happy to sit down and talk with anybody that may have concerns about that.
A lot of our seniors who are not listening today, who have retired, are out working again. And they have another income stream. It might be not a lot of money, but they're now on their Social Security. What strategy would you have for that person who's 70 and a half, let's say 75, and now getting their Social Security, but they got a job now, and some of them wanted to go back to work, and some of them had to go back to work. Working and staying in your occupation. What kind of strategy do you have for our seniors in terms of their skills, like computer skills and things like that, to move forward?
I think there are all kinds of opportunities for people to just continue to work later into the workforce. Retirement, for what we see with our clients, has changed drastically. 20 years ago, people would retire and that would be it. I'm done. I'm not doing anything else. And now we see this continually just slowing down. So maybe we don't work quite as many hours as we were before. And people often are working into their 70s, like what your example is.
But like you said, because they can, because they are healthier, and they want to do something. And you're right, some need to.
And so many of here law enforcement lives in Santa Clarita, and retired law enforcement and fire and such. And a lot of my neighbors are retired, and some have moved, but many have stayed. And they, and I tell them the fastest way to, go 6 feet under is to do nothing. And so they have gotten out and they've found other work, and some are happy, and most of them are pretty happy with they put in their, 30 years with LAPD, but they need something to do, and they are doing those things and trying to avoid all the health problems that others have. But, in terms of that working, they're now out there making an income, but they're afraid, okay, I'm getting my Social Security. Are my taxes going to change? And, do I need to put it in a place where, I have a better understanding how this money is going to help feed me later? How do you guys take those people and say, keep working and earn as much as you can, or, stop now and, reap some of the rewards of it? How do you handle that for people who, yes, are not quite 104, but are slowing down and just saying, I don't want to hurt my back. I don't want to, get bad knees. I want to keep going.
I love that you brought up the tax conversation, because a big part of a retirement distribution strategy is what that tax liability actually is. And if we can help people be, what I would say, efficient in their income and efficient in their investments, and then be just as efficient in the tax liability that we owe, then ultimately you may be able to create the amount of income that you need in retirement and not work as much, because we've simply been able to reduce your tax liability. So if you're working just to pay the tax liability, there must be some kind of scenario that we could help adjust in some way, where we could limit the tax liability and give you maybe more spendable income that you didn't have before.
And isn't there a degree of Social Security liability when you have a income? They sometimes will subtract off your Social Security as well. I mean, there's a whole bunch of facets to this, and government has not made it easy.
No.
They've made it pretty complicated, haven't they?
I don't think that should be allowed.
I agree.
I
If
really
you earn
don't,
it, you should
because
keep it.
You've
But
earned it.
to say, well, we have to balance it out and keep you poor.
That's a bunch of garbage, in my opinion.
I think
it really is.
We both agree
And
with
it's
that.
such a shame. And I think that's where you get people who will work under the table.
Right.
I think that's where a lot of that comes from.
And a lot of their anxiety too, that Uncle
That's
Sam's
right.
going to be knocking
Well,
at their
true.
door.
That's very true. But I think there's a large percentage of people who work under the table and
They
get
do.
the cash so that they can avoid paying those extra taxes or having their Social Security diminished.
Affected.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice
You know?
if we didn't have to play games like that?
It would be. It really
there has
would.
to be a better way.
There are planning considerations that we could probably work with people so that you don't have to feel like you're doing something under the table, or and just getting some of the types of investments that you have maybe lined up in the right type of investment so that it can minimize your taxes at some point in the future.
And you have
it's
feel
good planning strategy.
And you feel like you have more control over the situation.
Absolutely.
Then. Yeah. That ultimately is the goal for this for all of this, is that people have to feel that they're in control of their destiny, as it were, financially. And sometimes, just like Melanie says, just making some shifts can be enough to do that for them, and give them greater satisfaction with their life too.
Maybe we need a talk over at the senior center, and for how all these integral parts of the law, relative to taxes and earnings and income streams, how in a broader meeting, just say these are what you're facing, and this is how now you have to be educated in this. Because if you're not, and you then go under the table, you're going to live in fear that you're going to get caught. And, at 105, you're going to have this, $1 million tax liability. Oh, I worked too much, sorry, for the last 20 years.
It's interesting because we do a Social Security presentation, and I will, not surprisingly, that is the most well-attended presentation that we do.
Absolutely.
Because of the obscurity, really, of the law, and of people just say, I don't know what to do with Social Security. And there are several considerations that people need to be mindful of when it comes to this, which is why I think it's so popular. People really want to come out to get the education, and so we're finding we're having more conversations like that as my generation, not Melanie's. She's younger than I am.
Oh, wait a minute. You're not 20 or 30 years younger, please.
But I am.
Do we call you an old man?
Yes, I'm a couple years older than her, a few years older. But I'm having that conversation more and more with my friends and colleagues. What is Social Security? What do I do? What do I choose for Social Security as an option? I'm not quite there yet, but it won't be that many more years until I'm there, and we'll have to make a decision.
But you want to make it a good decision, an educated decision.
Right.
But I will tell you, Jeff, between now and that time, the laws will change probably 100 times, right?
Absolutely.
And we'll have to be
probably will.
re-educated so we can take stock in what's going on right now, but, we'll have to learn it again.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting. I was self-employed, and I had a secretarial service out of my home. And I got sick and tired of sitting at the machine all day long.
Sure.
Because I would get up at 5 in the morning and start work, and then sometimes have to deliver my work to the various places, and I was ready to quit at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd had it. But I had a decision to make. I didn't want to work until I was 65, the normal time. And I did some figuring, and my husband helped me. He wasn't my husband then, but he helped me figure out how much more I would get if I worked 3 extra years from the Social Security. And it was minimal.
Yeah.
And I thought, why sit and make my body break down from sitting and moving my fingers all these years? 3 years? I'm retiring now, and I retired at 62.
Well, congratulations.
And
I love that.
I thought to myself, the difference between getting Social Security at 62 as opposed to 65 was not worth my health. And that's what I did. I retired at 62.
I love that.
Oh, yes, and I
That's good.
thoroughly enjoyed myself.
But
Absolutely.
You made an educated decision with the help and input from outside.
That's right.
To get there, and for whatever the laws are at the moment, you were able to take those rules that were out there and apply them better for you.
Yeah.
And that's what our seniors need to do. They need to be educated, and they need to get that from somewhere. And
And I
sometimes
think
it's not available even on the internet.
I think that's what Melanie was alluding to, is that we take every situation is different, and when we work with people, we take that in consideration. Everyone has a slightly different situation because of the assets that they own, their hopes for what retirement will look like for them. Some people want to retire and never work again, and then others now, as you said, as we started the show, retire and want to get into a different thing, a different career. And so we take that into consideration in all interactions with clients, is that we don't want to assume that there's a cookie cutter approach to this. And I think that's what you're saying too. With
Exactly.
your senior audience, their situations
There's
are
a
all
lot
different.
of variety.
Yeah.
And I also want to add that, we keep talking about Social Security a lot right here. And if they already are taking Social Security, it doesn't mean that this conversation isn't appropriate. Because there's always something that can be adjusted and improved, regardless of whether you're 62 or 72 or 92 or whatever age. It's a constant process of reevaluating and adjusting throughout retirement.
And you have
That's
your income streams, like Social Security and your retirement, but then you have the output streams of, where money is going to go. And, with our Medicare changing and how it's changing, I think it's so hard to estimate, is your money you're going to be able to pay for the medication? What if they have some new experimental drug that comes out and it's $50,000 a year? What are you going to do? How are you going to handle that? You won't. You'll flip a coin and you might be done.
That's right, because you have living expenses regardless.
Right.
They are going to be there, whether you're living in a board and care or where you're living.
Right.
You're going to have certain expenses.
And those could be going up, and
That's
they are.
right.
I mean, they're
Absolutely.
in an exponential way here in Santa Clarita. Not only are the rents going up, but everything in the board and cares, the assisted living, even in our local skilled nursing facility, everything is going up. And they're maneuvering, and they're always trying to swipe the monies away from our seniors, because they think they got it all, but it's not true. And the worst thing that can happen is having our seniors become homeless. And I think we're both involved in doing that, making sure that doesn't happen.
A lot of them are. A lot of them are homeless. And it's so sad.
Yes.
It really is. My heart goes out to them. And you see these guys and women too with these things on their backs. They look like they've just walked out of a mud puddle, and it's really, really sad.
It's degrading. Their dignity is gone, and there's no doubt there maybe some made bad decisions, but that doesn't mean they should be living under the freeway. It just should not happen that way. And the seniors who are out there and, who are having trouble, who might be listening to the show, contact us. We'll find a way to help you out, and we'll find a place to, put a roof over your head and give you a blanket and good food. So don't be distressed. We're out there, and we got to make sure that for those who aren't out there, who have to make good decisions now, we have Thrivent to help us out.
We'd be happy to talk to anybody.
Yeah, and
any of the seniors.
Well, we need to have your phone numbers where we can reach you.
Absolutely.
So that, anyone who is listening to us now and who needs a financial advisor, we need to get your number so that we can do that.
And I'll give it to you right now. It's area code 661-799-0230. Thrivent Financial, Jeff and Melanie Meyer. If you go out and search on the computer for Thrivent and Jeff and Melanie Meyer, we'll come up. So
that's terrific.
House calls?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Especially for seniors.
That's like our dear doctor here, house calls.
Yeah.
They don't, most doctors don't, most people don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
No, you have to come to my office.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna change that around. Thrivent will change it, and the physician community will be changed for our
Terrific.
seniors.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate all the input.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
We hope you will come back again.
We would love to.
Terrific.
Great, thanks.
I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
In Santa Clarita, we always find a way to be generous to the community. We give time, money, muscle, ideas, whatever we can, when we can. But without careful planning, such generosity can quickly drain the bank.
At Thrivent Financial, Jeff and Melanie Meyer do more than help you manage your finances. They help you plan for a generous lifestyle so you have enough for yourself and enough to share. Take the first step toward a generous financial future. Call Jeff and Melanie Meyer at 661-799-0230. That's 799-0230.
Drugs or alcohol abuse can tear a family apart. In Santa Clarita, just like everywhere else, it's an epidemic. The Way Out Recovery is here to help. Call them now at 296-4444 or visit them on the web at thewayoutrecoveryscv.com. The Way Out offers outpatient treatment for adolescents, adults, and family members. The Way Out is compassionate, caring, professional, and confidential. You and your family don't have to suffer any longer. Call The Way Out Recovery now, 296-4444, or visit thewayoutrecoveryscv.com and make an appointment. Asking for help is the first step.
Choosing the right coffee service was a top priority for John Hayes, owner of Hayes Plumbing in Santa Clarita. John's glad he called Sean Milligan at Professional Coffee Service.
Well, once we found Sean at Professional Coffee Service, We've been very, very happy. We started using him right after our factory warranty had expired on the current copier that we had purchased, and Sean and his guys have been far and above better than the factory warranty service.
Professional copy service, 299-5756. 299-5756. The only authorized Canon dealer for sales and service in Santa Clarita for Santa Clarita Professional Copy Service.
We try to keep everything we can in this valley. We shop local ourselves, and we try to use any local merchant as possibly can.
Call Sean Milligan at Professional Copy Service, 299-5756.
Call Professional Copy Service immediately. They'll save you a lot of time and get your office staff back up to full production.
Professional Copy Service, Santa Clarita's only authorized Canon office equipment dealership. Ask about our free on-site demos.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Aloha, friends! We invite you to come by Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brewed coffee. What makes our coffee special is how our organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. We're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons Avenue and Walnut in Newhall. Stop by and say aloha!
La Esmeralda is home to truly authentic Mexican food. This family-owned restaurant prides itself on its fresh-to-order menu. Even the tortillas are made in-house. If you have a taste for sizzling fajitas, menudo, flautas, or ceviche, you have to try La Esmeralda's Mexican and seafood restaurant. Dine in or order out for the most authentic Mexican food Santa Clarita has to offer. Their Taco Tuesday? It'll turn you into a regular. La Esmeralda on Bouquet at Haskell.
Hometown, your hometown station.
I just like the variety of music.
KHTS. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And we're speaking now with Myles McNamara of Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Good heavens. I had a hard time getting that one out.
It's not like you've never said it before, Barbara.
Oh, I know.
I think you were a little uncomfortable with that.
Hi, guys. Good to see you again.
Yes,
Myles,
good
welcome.
to see you. What do you have on tap for us today?
Well, and we've kind of talked about it almost every time. I want to focus on, which, as you know, we care for clients in their home. But when we're not around, who cares for them? And that's their adult children. So, basically, I want to talk about the family caregiver, the adult child. We have the annual Caregiver Resource Day coming up this Saturday, actually, that's put on annually by our Santa Clarita Valley Senior Center. I say Caregiver Resource Day because that's the recognizable name. Now we're calling it Knowledge is Power, the Aging with Dignity Symposium. And basically it's a day for the family caregiver. We're all thrust into it. Barbara, you are living it right now where we're caring for loved ones that need a helping hand. And a lot of times when that situation is thrust upon us, we think we're on an island. We think that we are alone. We think that there's nothing else around that's happening that's similar to what we're experiencing. And that's just not true. We all age. We all know someone who's aging. And this Saturday is a great day to see the resources that are in the Santa Clarita Valley for our family caregivers. And we have some phenomenal guest speakers, and it's being held and hosted by, thank you, Henry Mayo Hospital at their education building over there, which is where Facey's located. So if you know where Facey is over there, it's that building. I don't think people are calling it the Facey building yet, but it's we call it the education building, I think, over there at the Henry Mayo Hospital campus. But from 9 a.m. to 3:30 in the afternoon, lunch is there. And not only do we have some amazing keynote speakers that I'll get to in a minute, but there's also a room full of local resources that are available to our folks, not only our seniors, but also our caregivers and the family caregivers. Anything that has to do with helping seniors. It could be home health, hospice. It could be durable medical equipment. It could be, I know there's a company called Gentle Transitions that helps seniors move if they're downsizing. Of course, there'll be home care companies there like myself. Comfort Keepers is actually a platinum sponsor for that event. We're always trying to help out when it comes to our senior center. But I think last count, I heard there was over 20 vendors that'll be at the event.
Wow.
And again, so the resources that are out there are pretty substantial, but people just don't know about it. I go back to that, they think they're on an island. They think they're dealing with it for the first time only in the history of our planet. And it's not true.
Or, Myles, they just don't, they're not in that realm yet. They're not seeing especially their parents getting into a situation where they're not driving anymore, where they're falling now and things like that. They're not, in a position where they have to feel they are going to need the knowledge to be able to care for their loved ones.
Well, and you kind of unwittingly segued me right into what I wanted to talk about.
Oh, that was wittingly.
Okay, it was wittingly. You read my mind. And this is a slippery slope that I always try to talk about is when, and I know we have a lot of senior listeners on this show, so please, I say this lovingly, folks. It's not about being condescending or patronizing, but again, trying to help the family caregiver, the adult child, is sometimes we don't make the best choices for ourselves when we're in a situation. And the toughest thing that our adult children are facing is when you have to make that paradigm shift or that transition of parenting your parents. And how do you do that when your heroes are getting of an age where maybe cognitively or physically they can't quite do the things that they're used to or that they used to do, and you now have to sort of take point in parenting your parents. And I have a lot of clients that'll come in and the adult children of clients actually and say, well, mom and dad need this, but they won't go for it. Or we really know they need this, but they won't say yes. And at some point, we as a family caregiver and an adult child have to say, well, this is for your best interest, and these are the things that maybe your physician has come on board with, or some of the other medical professionals we've talked to. Just because mom and dad, they could have been professors, they could have been, rocket scientists, but at some point, that ability has declined and they aren't making the best decisions for themselves anymore. And our generation of seniors right now, it's the greatest generation. They're proud, they're independent, they don't want to be a burden, they don't want any help. But at some point there has to be the revelation that you need help. And I tell my adult children clients a lot, I know that's what mom wants, but we've got to overrule her. I mean, it's and again, I say this lovingly because, I try to just use metaphors and examples. I call it the circle of life. As when we're born in this world and you kind of go around that circle till we leave this world, some of the things that happen to us physically and mentally are fairly cyclical. We, as a 2-year-old toddler can't make the best decisions for ourselves. So as parents, when our toddler doesn't want to eat the vegetable, but rather have that bag of M&Ms, or they want to go play out in the middle of the street, we as parents have to say, I know what you want, but it's not going to happen. Well, it's the same with our parents as they get older and there may be some cognitive issues that come into play and they say, I don't need help, I'm fine. Well, you know what? You do need help. And if we don't do something, you're going to fall and break a hip. You're going to injure yourself or others when we refer to taking away the car keys, possibly. But there's a respectful way to do it. There's a way to, and circling back in a long-winded way to Caregiver Resource Day, there's people that can assist you with that transition. There are support groups. There are professionals who have walked adult children or even a spouse through that transition where you've been married for 40, 50 years and you've all had your own independence and now one isn't quite as independent as they used to be. And so that spouse is trying to talk the other spouse into a little bit of help or whatever. No. Yep. Well, at some point, be it coming along with you, Dr. Dorio, as an advocate or whoever to say, you know what? It's time. You need a helping hand, and we always try to present ourselves as a concierge service because we're non-medical. I mean, a lot of our seniors need a helping hand with just bathing and eating nutritionally and doing things without injuring themselves,
which is medical to a certain degree.
Well,
Their hygiene, their nutrition.
Valet.
Oh, that's great.
It's a concierge service. You've worked hard all your life, and now let's have yourself a butler come in and and help with some of the things that you can't do as efficiently as you used to. So we're not nurses. We're not here to take over your life. We're here to enhance your life. You're still the boss, but let's make sure you don't break that hip, which is the beginning of the end of a lot of times with our seniors. But again, I pull back and advise my adult children, don't be a bull in a china shop. You have to handle this with dignity. You have to handle it with respect. I think I've mentioned before, a lot of times physically as we start to deteriorate and cognitively we're still pretty sharp, but it's the same thing if I walked up to you, Dr. Dorio, and you're feeling sharp and snappy and all that, and I said, you know what, I don't think you should drive anymore. Give me your keys. Do you know the level of independence I've just removed from your life?
Knock the knees out from under me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we can't just be glib about this. We can't be flippant about some of these transitions that are happening in our parents' lives or any aging loved one that we're caring for. Is there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, but the end result has to be the same. The decision that is in the best interest of our senior has to be obtained. The goal that you set out to get to, no matter what the playbook, no matter what plays you call, the end result has to be a touchdown. And that's a really weak athletic metaphor, but I'll use it.
Slam dunk.
Yeah, exactly. So, but again, we have resources out there, and not only do we have the physical resources and some of the folks that'll be involved in the Caregiver Resource Day this Saturday, but again, there's nothing better than a support group to talk to people who are experiencing the same transitional issues that you're experiencing.
Now, when you say you're having 20 vendors, what do those 20 comprise?
M&Ms. Trying to bring you back to life.
It's a great cross section. We have a lot of businesses here in Santa Clarita that focus on our senior market. So as I said earlier, if it may be home care, there'll be hospice companies there. There'll be physical therapy. There'll be anything that has to do with servicing seniors. There'll be some financial people there like Jeff and Melanie that you just had on the show. People that offer services to our seniors here in Santa Clarita. And it could be anything from medical to non-medical to, just emotional help to what have you.
What, physical help too?
Yeah,
like walkers
absolutely.
And that kind of
yeah.
thing.
It's the kind of things that, you're experiencing if you needed to go out and find some ambulatory assistance devices for, anybody. There's people in town that provide those for our seniors, and a lot of folks don't understand the difference between home care, like Comfort Keepers does, versus home health, which is a nurse that is prescribed by a physician where, a nurse will pop in and do some medical stuff and boom, they're gone, or in-home physical therapy or hospice if end of life is an issue, or what's the difference between hospice and palliative care and, and all those types of issues that we face.
That's interesting because I was gone yesterday, and I came home, and there was a nurse from Option 1 who is coming over to do some analysis of Russ's condition because he has physical therapy twice a week.
Right.
And she has to, since Jean wrote another prescription for him, she has to come over and analyze the situation.
Reassess. Right. And that's where, and again, when you have all these resources that work seamlessly with each other, because as I said, that nurse will come for the amount of times per week that Dr. Dorio deems necessary medically because it's paid for by Medicare and other insurances, whereas home care is unless you have a long-term care policy, is paid for privately, but the baton is handed off because that nurse will come in, do whatever that you've prescribed her or him to do, and then when they leave, Comfort Keepers can then step in and say, okay, now let's get a shower, or maybe it's a bed bath, or let's cook a nice meal. Let's make sure you're hydrating. Let's throw in a load of laundry. Let's go for a walk. Whatever the care plan calls for. but that's where the baton is handed off. The nurses will come in and do what they're prescribed to do. Then a home care company would start taking care of what we call activities of daily living and making sure that they have someone at their side when they're walking so they don't fall. If they're getting in and out of the shower, then we also go that extra level. Do we have nice grab bars in the shower? Some of the other supportive devices that protect our seniors. And then
Or a
of course
walk-in tub.
a walk-in tub, absolutely.
In fact, a couple of years ago, I said to Russ, I want one of those for my birthday. And, it's been an absolute lifesaver because now I can put Russ in that walk-in tub.
Right.
Yeah. And he's sitting down. He's got the shower facility. He's got everything there.
Right.
And it's been a lifesaver.
And as we're evaluating the overall picture, and again, a word of advice to our spouses who are family caregivers, our adult children who are tasked with caring for an aging loved one, is a lot of times just as a family dynamic, it's normal. They'd rather hear it from someone else besides their kid or their spouse.
Yep.
So again, getting advocates on board like a Dr. Dorio or a physician or whoever else is involved with their medical care is to say the transition is now, to make sure that we're being proactive, that we're not going to allow you to end up in the hospital for something that we could have easily prevented. So I would, again, get an advocate to assist you if you're going to have that talk. Just as I said, the transition is tough when we're starting to care for our parents who have been our heroes all of our life, and some of the smartest people that we've been mentored by are known. But now think of it from their side. Now they have a child who's coming in and telling them what to do, and it's just kind of a hard pill to swallow sometimes. And so we have to really think about the emotional aspect of it and the personalities involved, and don't be that bull in a china shop, and really think about it from both sides, because our parents are getting older and need a helping hand. Our kids are trying their best, as we've referred to them, as the sandwich generation. They're running their kids to soccer practice, then jumping over to make sure dad ate well, then going to pick up the kids and coming back to make sure they shower. So again, they're just running themselves ragged. But you get someone to come in and offer a helping hand, and comfort keepers can come in and make sure mom ate or make sure she took her medications on time. Then you can come back as the spouse or the adult child and be the spouse or the adult child. You don't have to come back and be the caregiver. And have those things addressed from somebody, a professional who can do it. But before we run out of time, I want to talk about some of the keynote. Do we have to take a commercial or anything? Actually, you want to do that real quick, Justin? We'll talk about it after. It's not my show. I'll shut up and let you guys do it.
No, Justin runs the show.
I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Doing right starts right here. At Union Bank, community banking is at the heart of what we do. From giving customers more convenient access to their money to financing their homes here in the neighborhood. Union Bank believes in acting locally. We also believe that investing in local businesses helps everyone. For over 150 years, Union Bank has grown strong, one community at a time. We live here, we do business here, and we're here for you. Stop by your local branch today to experience the strength of community banking. There are 3 Union Bank branches conveniently located in the Santa Clarita and Antelope Valley area. To find your nearest branch, visit unionbank.com. Loan subject to credit and collateral approval. Financing available for collateral located in California, Oregon, and Washington. Fees and restrictions may apply. Terms and conditions subject to change. MUFG Union Bank N.A. member FDIC equal housing lender. Union Bank is a registered trademark and brand name of MUFG Union Bank N.A.
Santa Clarita's new Friday night happening place is Vine's Restaurant and Bar at the Hyatt Valencia.
Vine's Restaurant rocks,
featuring their prime rib buffet dinner.
Oh man, awesome buffet.
Prime rib, the best.
Our Friday feast.
Tomato basil soup, homemade.
Shrimp and Caesar salad.
Vine's Restaurant Friday night prime rib buffet, only $29.50.
The ultimate date night.
Make your Friday date night at Vine's Restaurant and keep every day of your week happy at the Vine's Lounge and Patio Happy Hour, 4 to 7 p.m. daily, featuring $5 appetizers and drinks.
Cancer is unpredictable. You need a cancer center that's several steps ahead. For over a century, City of Hope has been advancing science that saves lives. From 4 of the top cancer-fighting drugs to stem cell transplants with unparalleled survival rates. Rather than just heal the body, City of Hope helps you re-become the person you were before cancer. City of Hope has 15 locations throughout Los Angeles. For the location nearest you, visit cityofhope.org.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association is hosting our annual gala, The Art Classic, Saturday, October 15th from 1:30 to 5 p.m. This fundraiser highlights professionally judged original artwork by local artists in all mediums. For only $25, you can enjoy live music, wine, hors d'oeuvres, and meet the artists in person. The Art Classic will be held at Hart Hall in Hart Park. All artwork will be on display for free public viewing Sunday, October 16th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For tickets and more information, visit us at santaclaritaartist.org.
Sweet, salty, tastiest, bacon and pancakiest. Big yawns are okay, yummy syrups, yes way. Butter pecan, blueberry, old-fashioned strawberry. Never empty coffee pot, Mom says it hits the spot. Almonds are the fluffiest, Dad's hugs the scruffiest. Scrambled eggy, pepper shaky, orange juicy, wide awake, stuffed French toastiest. Waffles with the mustiest, buttermilky, smooth, silky, tastes great. Love on a plate.
IHOP, everything you love about breakfast.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign, next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Hometown. Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. And we're speaking with Myles McNamara of Comfort Keepers in Home Care, a sponsor of the Senior Hour. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes.
Well, if I may, Justin says we only have 5 minutes. So, again, I'd like to really point out, folks, the Caregiver Resource Day coming up this Saturday. If you or you know somebody who is caring for a loved one, the resources that are available in the Santa Clarita Valley are plentiful. A lot of folks just don't know about it. But we have some great speakers. There's going to be Dr. Dean Hartley. He's with the Alzheimer's Association. He's going to be talking about the current research on Alzheimer's disease. Then we also are going to have Dr. Ronald Zeman. He's going to be talking about trends in the Parkinson's disease and some of the issues and challenges we face there. And then circling back to our family caregivers taking care of your health, we're going to have Isaac Vielma from UCLA Health. And then City of Hope is going to have Michael Cohen there. I mean, so we're going to have a lot of great speakers. It's from 9 a.m. to 3:30 at the Henry Mayo Education Building on the Henry Mayo campus. We would like you to pre-register. Walk-ups, of course, are welcome, but you can call our local senior center at 661-259-9444. Ask for Suzanne Nelson. It's kind of a long email address, so I'll tell it. It's snelson@scvseniorcenter.org, but don't do that. Just call the senior center, 259-9444. It's this Saturday. We'd love to know you're coming just for food preparation and stuff, but walk-ups, of course, are welcome. There is a $10 attendance fee, just so that's not a surprise. That gets you all the materials and lunch for the day. But please come on down. And then another thing that's coming up that put on your list is partnered with the College of the Canyons, the Senior Center has, and we have ongoing essential family caregiver workshops. Again, there's a lot of resources out there, folks. And the next one's coming up on September 30th, and it's coping with caregiver stress and burnout. And it's the essentials for self-care for our caregivers. So again, call our senior center for more information on that, 259-9444. You can reach out to me at Comfort Keepers as well. I can steer you in the right direction. And Comfort Keepers is 287-4200. Stop by and say hi at 23900 Lyons Avenue if you'd like. But again, we try to focus a lot of care and attention on our family caregivers. There's a reason that, when you're on a flight, the flight attendants will tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before you assist others, because if you pass out, you're no good to anybody. And it's a message that we constantly try to drive home to our family caregivers is take care of yourself. Because
Mhm.
if you don't take care of yourself, how in the world are you going to care for someone that you love?
I know I get that lecture every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, if your loved one needs a helping hand in the home, think of us, Comfort Keepers, and we can come in, do a free evaluation and an assessment, sit down with you and see what we can do to make your senior's life more plentiful and independent while you take a breath and get out and go get your hair done or play that round of golf or whatever it is that you may need to do to maintain your health and stress level. But we all know that if we put a dollar figure on family caregivers, it's in the billions with a B, that are, that would be the wages earned if you paid these family caregivers. But folks, take care of yourself. It's so important. And
take care of your loved ones, Myles, because the reality is that people don't really realize that they become a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize their role. And with what you're saying today, right now, to all our listeners is, be aware of yourself. Be aware of taking care of yourself. But by doing that, then you're taking care of your loved one.
Right. And it's so important because, I think
it's interesting. My son, 12, 15 years ago, bought a 2.5 acre property with a basic home on it. And at the end of the acreage, there's another small house there. And he said, Mom, one of these days you may need to be taken care of, and that's the house for you.
Mm-hmm.
And, I never really thought hard about it, but that is a possibility.
Well, kudos to him. That's what we call being proactive.
Way proactive.
It's that old cliche, people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan.
That's right.
But, look down the road, because I promise you, folks, I promise you unconditionally, we all are going to get old.
That's right.
There's nothing we can do about it.
It's inevitable,
Not
Myles.
old,
Just inevitable.
Older.
Older.
Yep.
That's nicer.
Yep.
That has a much nicer sound to it.
Yep.
Because I think of old as this horrible-looking, crotchety old woman trying to walk down the street.
Yeah,
That's
but
old.
You hit the nail on the head, Dr. Dorio, is that people don't realize that they are a caregiver sometimes.
Yeah.
They think they're just kind of going through their daily routine and doing this and doing that. If they step back and looked at what's going on,
That's
you
reality.
are a caregiver.
That's me.
Right.
Thank you, our older Myles McNamara, for being on the show today. Always a great resource for information, especially about our caregivers. We are sponsored by Advanced Audiology and Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.